Good afternoon and welcome to United TV. Today we have a very special guest joining us, a renowned expert in real estate industry, a true visionary in the field. He's none other than the one and the only one, Robert Buccini. With his innovative approach and insightful perspectives, Rob has made a significant impact in the real estate world. His work is not only inspiring, but also instrumental in shaping the future of downtown Wilmington and the other parts of the country. We are truly honored to have Rob here with us today to share his wisdom, experience, and valuable insight. Rob Buccini, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Kemal, for having me on the call. I really appreciate this Zoom. It is very flattering.
It's our honor to have you. Thank you again. So a lot of people, they already know you. But we still want to get to know you a little bit more. If you can tell us about your background on the personal side, so then we can kind of get to know you a little bit more. And then I have some specific questions related to the Buccini Group.
Sure. Well, I was born and raised here in Wilmington. When I was born, my parents brought me back. We lived with my grandmother on South DuPont Street. So, from the office here in Wilmington, I can, see out our 9th floor window, the church that we grew up going to, St. Anthony's. So I haven't gone very far from my youth. I was bused to Greenville Elementary when I was living in the city and had a learning issue, which allowed me or caused me to go to Wilmington Friends School. I graduated from Wilmington Friends School after being there for over a decade. Blessed to have done that. Had a great educational and athletic experience. Won a state championship in football, and was always a gym rat. So was at all the different gyms throughout the city, playing basketball or football or running track, lifting weights. Out of the left, I can see the Central Y, and that's where I spent most summers, working out to play high school and college football. So the city clearly is very near and dear to me. I feel like I do know every inch. I think a lot of people that don't know me, they don't realize, how part of the fabric, I feel like I am, and how, I've known so many people over the years because of being born and raised here, playing sports. And so I've been blessed. We went on in 30 years ago. I started our company, Buccini Pollin Group. We built a very small warehouse in Aston, Delaware County, Pennsylvania. And from there, we've grown into a company that has assets literally throughout the country. We have own and manage almost 14,000 hotel rooms from the Portland, Oregon to Texas, down to Florida, up to New York City. Wilmington is where I come to every day. We're a 5-day-a-week office. And I think one of the things I'm most proud of is that we have in the city, we employ in and around the city 1,100 colleagues of mine. So it's something that I could not be more proud of. So and I think that's our employees, my colleagues, the associates of BPG, they being part of the fabric has also helped us to, I think, do a very good job in our community endeavors.
Absolutely. So, well, I know a lot of people admire what you have done, and you and your family. So I don't want to take any credit from your brother, Chris Buccini. Now, you and I, we met in December 2023, although I think we have probably met in the past in different committees. I was just going through some of my emails. So we were on same email.
Yeah, for
back
sure.
In end of 2009 to 2012 period. So, and I don't want to, I'm just saying this so that I don't want to lie about this. So but I don't remember us having any conversation, but we actually decided to have a lunch meeting. That was last December. I enjoyed that very much. And then one of the reasons that we had that is because United Medical We have two United Medicals from my side. One is our business entity, United Medical LLC, and the other one is United Medical Clinic. Now, you suggested something at that time, and we did follow your suggestion. And now, actually,
A marketing tidbit.
so we are officially, for our medical side, we are officially United Medical Associates. Our signs will be updated in the next, hopefully, couple of weeks. But one of the things that I want to kind of share with everyone who may have maybe a little bit difficulty understanding our conversation that we are going to have. So United Medical Associates on the medical side, we have a small office on Gilpin Avenue. It was one of our offices. Our main office is in Bexwoods, down in Bear. We have an office in Smyrna and Dover, and our downtown office was small. So we had two options. Either we were going to actually close that office because it was small for us, or we were going to actually take the opportunity and take advantage of a lot of good stuff has happened in the city of Wilmington. So I don't know if I told you this, but I live in Westover. It's about 2.2 miles from where our United Medical Associates is. So on a Sunday, I actually was looking for an office after our real estate agent said there isn't much available, because we told them, I guess, we didn't want to be in downtown. So then
parking, I'm sure, is something that was important to you.
Sure. So, but then on this November, right before Thanksgiving, it may be right after Thanksgiving, a couple of years ago, I'm on the FaceTime with my dad, and then I started walking from my house. It took about 45 minutes. I was probably walking slow, and boom, I see this sign for sale sign for 600 Delaware Avenue, and immediately I said, well, this should be our next office for our Gilpin should be moved to here. And that's when I realized someone like yourself and your company and what you have brought to Wilmington, where maybe 10 years ago, I wouldn't be able to do that. Just because
I thank you. I think the key to us in Wilmington is that we were able to invest an enormous amount of money in an area that was relatively concentrated, so that people were able to see the tangible results of that. And then, one of the things that surprise people is we are the biggest champions of anyone else who wants to invest in the city, even if it's competitive to us. So I have several friends of mine that are building housing in the city, and people would say, are you worried about the competition? I said, no. I said, what we really need in Wilmington is, because the city had struggled mightily, from the late 60s, for 25 years. And so we had so much, decades of underinvestment in the city that we have to make up on. And having the ability to, make significant investments in a defined area allows us to, have additional security monitoring cameras, making sure that the area is, very, very clean. And, we've done all this literally without the displacing a person. So there's, the talk of gentrification, are we gentrifying? And, gentrification, one of the definitions is that we have to move out people. So every building that we have purchased has been vacant, with the exception of one that had a retail on the ground floor that was leased expired, and they were in the process of moving out. And this is literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of properties that we've purchased in the city. And, we will get comments, oh, well, you're building luxury housing. But I think what people forget is, if there would be no ShopRite, like we were very successful in convincing the Kenny family to come to the city of Wilmington. We invested, I don't know, $50 million to bring them, or, the Chase Center, where we've never turned away a young athlete in the city of Wilmington that wants to aspire to be an elite player. The movie theaters, things like that, where are things that everyone in a city needs and are accessible to. So I think some of the critics would say, they only point to maybe the fancy restaurant as opposed to the kind of the breadth of what we do. And fortunately, from being here, and as you know, it's Wilmington's a place to be somebody, and everyone knows everyone. That people know really what I'm about, what my brother, our family's about, and what our company's about.
So from the business side, and we'll get into your current projects, but I just want to, as a businessman, I also kind of look up to someone like yourself, who took the business to a next level. So what was the breaking point for you guys? Like now you are kind of like, we are not in the same, same league anymore. So you are at the next
I
level.
don't know about that.
What was the breaking point for you guys?
So in the early 90s, we were building small industrial properties, basically little warehouses. And I had some friends that worked in New York City in the real estate world, and they had connected me with Lehman Brothers. So as most people know, Lehman Brothers was a massive investment bank that subsequently went out of business in 2008 because of their real estate investments. But they backed us when the DuPont company was selling their downtown complex here in Wilmington, where my office is actually in the Brandywine building, which is one of the 4 buildings that we have bought from the DuPont company. And what they did, back then I was 29, single. I think I had $60,000 in credit card debt, maybe a few months rent in my checking account. So really had not had any savings. Everything that we had generated, in the early 80s through through the early 90s through the late 90s until 2000, was every dollar we had made, we invested back into the company to do our next projects. And so Lehman came and they basically financed the entire deal for us, allowed us to purchase the DuPont complex. I was 29, and I think back every day, like, what were they thinking? I mean, I remember went through the central utility plant that powers about 5 million square feet of space here in the city of Wilmington that was underneath the DuPont building, and I did not know how the steam plant worked. I didn't know what a chiller was, and so I went to the bookstore. And that's how I learned about the complex that we acquired. At least I had a working knowledge. Always cognizant of something that John Rollins Jr. had said to me, is always surround yourself by smarter people. So at that point, when we had gotten scale from just really being a small company, I was the accounts payable person, the accounts receivable person. Dave Pollin, my partner, he might have had one person that worked with him. I had 2 people that worked with me, and what we did was we continued to reinvest. We were able to convince with our business plan Lehman Brothers to back us, and it turned out to be a great deal. It was a great investment for Lehman. We own the complex today. We've since bought out our partners in the complex over the years, and it was really I think what we did was we just lived and breathed our projects for a decade. I didn't get married to my 33rd birthday, so I didn't have a ton of distractions. As today I have 4 children, so I'd go home at night at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, often maybe after a stop in Trolley Square to meet some friends, and then I just would work till midnight, get back up the next morning at 6, 7 o'clock, and rinse and repeat. So
that's pretty much what we all do, right?
yeah, that's what you do. Building your company, that's what you have to do.
Yeah. So now I want to discuss 2 of your new projects, and I think especially one of them, from the real estate standpoint, bringing this city like Wilmington back into life. I guess I'm always worried that we were going to become one of the like the Baltimore Junior, and that was my nightmare for a long time. But now I guess we are on the right track, and then everything looks much better. Probably, we have to give some credit to Joe Biden while he was the vice president and the president during his time. That also kind of probably helped the city a little bit,
For sure.
right? So,
Yeah, I mean, the press and the notoriety that we
right,
receive as a city. I mean, that's literally billions of dollars of PR that we would never get. I know people, sometimes will complain about the traffic that he
right.
brings, but every time I see that traffic that he occasionally brings, and that's just economic development for the city. It's some of the
Right.
best.
So
Um,
I think that helps. Like some people, yes, you're right. I mean, some people may complain about here and there with the traffic, but look, um, if the state is going to benefit from it, because it's not one individual is benefiting, the state is benefiting from
yeah,
it,
and
and
the
us,
restaurants, the hotels, taxes
absolutely,
to the
absolutely.
county for all the hotel tax. It's a massive investment. It's like having another Fortune 500 company here.
Definitely. Now, one thing that what I was about to say is that during this transition, I think it's really important to have, like, of course, having different projects are good, but having the mixed use developments, which I believe that's one of the things that you are doing right now.
Yeah.
If we can start with that, with the Market West project, it's about 230 million. These are the
Sure.
information I get from your website. So we can start with that, which is kind of more at least the way that I'm looking at it is more special because it's, again, this mixed use development, which has a long-term impact and a really good quality that it brings. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes. So Market West is a over 2 million square foot project that we have. There's new construction. There's a lot of historic renovation. It comprises the Hotel DuPont. It comprises 101 DuPont, which is a historic renovation of the old DuPont building into 192 apartment units. We have restaurants, food halls, and what it's about is creating energy in the center of our city, which is, as you know, the center of commerce for the state of Delaware. And when DuPont had announced that they were going to leave and vacate this and take with them, the 10,000 people, fortunately, and we were blessed, they only moved a few miles outside the downtown into brand new space. Chemours then relocated into spectacular office space, which is part of Market West. And so what we were able to do was we were able to save a 10 block by 10 block area of the city from being vacant, desolate, and activate the ground floor with retail, with shopping, with gyms, and housing. And there's an article this week in the Wall Street Journal about St. Louis, and it talked about what went wrong in St. Louis, how the core of the downtown during COVID was decimated because you already started to see a disinvestment in the city. You started seeing companies move out of the downtown. That was exacerbated by COVID. And what happened in Wilmington, and I give all the credit in the world to Mayor Brzezicki and to our Governor Carney, and we have two amazing U.S. senators and a wonderful, incredibly bright Congresswoman, is people leaned into the city and they backed the police. They took the opportunity to fix streets and utilities that were in disrepair while there weren't the amount of people that would typically be in downtown. So when people started returning to the downtown, which Market West is part of, they found something that had been improved in the year, 2 year absence during COVID. So we are pressing the accelerator on that. We have about 2 blocks away, and I'll turn it back to you, 243 unit apartment complex, high rise that's under construction now, that is just within blocks of the Market West. And I think what you'll see from all of this is more foot traffic, which is the key to success of any downtown. Downtowns can no longer just be office. For a downtown to succeed, it needs to be mixed use, as you alluded to.
So now the other big project, I guess, these days you guys are pursuing is the press. This is a $90 million development on 801 North Orange Street.
Yes.
Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's right next to our Midtown apartment complex, which is 200 units as well. So in that one block area, as you mentioned, at 8th and Orange, we'll have about 600 people living there. It's a block off of Mark Street. As you know, we have a few dozen ground floor retailers that we've helped start over the last decade. And the nice thing about the press and the adjacent existing buildings is that these people that will eventually move in there when the apartment is done, when people start moving in there into the press in February of next year, is that will further activate, the downtown. It will help the Mark Street merchants. It's important to note that we do affordable housing. We have 4 affordable housing projects on Market Street. I think our signature one is in the former West Bank headquarters at 9th and Market. So I think people don't always realize we take vouchers, and a lot of this has been done because of the availability at the time of the state's low-income housing tax credits.
So, Rob, one of the things that I'm always kind of like when I'm processing the city of Wilmington, you and your company also developed the Riverfront project, which turned out to be a successful project. Although initially there were a lot of reservations from people, so you took a big risk. And I don't know if you guys made a lot of money from that or not, but I know it was a big risk. Now, 15 almost years later, we see the impact of Riverfront. But do you think Riverfront is kind of competing with the downtown?
Initially, what our concern was, and when we built the Christiani Landing complex, which, as many people know, across from the Biden train station on the Christina River, there's 2 high rises and 60 plus townhomes. We were concerned that the center of gravity would move towards the riverfront, and the riverfront in many ways was easier because under Carper, Mike Brzezicki, and Mike Hare's leadership of the riverfront, that would be then governor, but now Senator Carper, they were able to assemble with the Petnero family, tracts and tracts and tracts of land. I think it's close to 100 acres of land that was really, it was former tanneries, it was junkyards. There was a place that I used to go to when I was working as a construction worker in the summer when I was in high school, Bell Supply. But I used to go down there to this old company, Bell Supply, that was a plumbing supply house, to pick things up for work. And I had no idea there was a river behind the building, like just no idea there was a river down there. And it was overgrown. It was, as everyone knows, contaminated. And so there was no displacement that occurred because of that. And the Petnero family, Verena Petnero, took a massive gamble on buying, what was contaminated land, and it turned out to be an incredible success story. So the great thing is that the success that we had down there on the housing front really gave us and many other developers the courage to build in the downtown. And for decades, the 80s, the 90s, 2000, the one economic development driver that had been missing had been residential in the downtown. And so it made it easier to bring residential in the downtown, that we were able to prove it successful on the riverfront.
And I think Riverfront did turn out really nice.
Yeah.
I do go there every once in a while to walk my dog. But one of the reasons, especially in the winter time, it's kind of like it's a safe place.
Yeah,
it's kind
very
of
safe. Yeah.
20 years ago, people would call me crazy to go there, but now it's a safer place to go there because there's light, there's security, there are a lot of people. I think that's that did turn out.
We moved our office building. We built an office building when we were building all the stuff on the riverfront to A and South Walnut Street. And one of the reasons we did that was to anchor that area so that we brought in 100 plus workers there. And it really helped to connect Southbridge to Christina Landing and really give a sense of security. Obviously having workers there, lights on at night, street lights, that all was very helpful. And I think that was a big turning point in terms of the perception of security is when we moved to the riverfront, our company. We've since now moved down to Market West and to kind of oversee our next big project here.
Right. So now when you become the public figure and when everyone knows you, so that like I steal this from Spider-Man. So the great power comes with great responsibilities.
Yeah.
Right. So there are that brings some good and bad attention to you and to your group. And when I was actually just researching for this event, one of the things that people, it's like on both sides, actually, preservation of historical buildings. And again, in my opinion, what I have seen so far, it's all good, positive impact, including the old buildings that you guys had. You have done the Queen on Market Street, what you guys did there.
Yeah, the Queen, yeah.
Many people don't even understand how much work that involves and how much probably investment is needed. And you guys took that risk. And I have a positive opinion on this, but there are some people who have different opinions on that. What would you say from the Buccini Group standpoint with the preservation of historical buildings? How are you guys doing?
Yeah, well, we've purchased 82 buildings along Market Street. Every single one of them was in disrepair. Most of the buildings that we purchased, you had to go into them with hazmat suits on as a precautionary measure as you demo them. Those who've been in the Queen, you might have seen the before and after pictures. The Queen was collapsing. It had no roof. Water, every time it rained, would drain into the ground floor. And it had been vacant like that so long that when it was last in use, it was segregated by color, by race. So really, it shows you how long these buildings had been vacant. And so we have won, I think, 4 of the top awards for our historic renovation in the downtown. Again, I mentioned the former Wistfus building at 9th and Market, 838 Market. It's one of the nicest apartment buildings we have. Like I said, it's an affordable housing project. I mean, buildings like that, the Queen, where Bardea is, I mean, they're just spectacular redevelopments and reuses, and obviously very green when you're not demolishing a building and you're trying to save a new building. And there was in 2008 there was a writer for the News Journal. Her name was let me think about it, Maureen Milford, and she would criticize our efforts. And I asked her and other people, well, if you don't want us to do what we're doing, we're open to opinions. What are the alternatives? And no one ever suggested the alternative. I mean, a lot of people were like, we really need a grocery store because where the ShopRite is, it was a food desert for both the East Side and Southbridge and what was happening on the riverfront and the bottom of Browntown. And so we did things that were required, but also we thought were going to be profitable. And in our business, when you invest several $1 billion and have 1,100 colleagues in and around the city, you have to make sure that your company's profitable. I come to work every day with a huge responsibility, knowing that many people depend on their salary. And I think when you put it in that context, people understand more. So no one ever said to us what they thought we should do. Everyone always wants more affordable housing. We agree there needs to be more affordable housing. I'm really proud that what you see, the former Riverside, Reach Riverside. I went to. I was one of the first people that went to Atlanta to pitch the project to come to Wilmington. I was there with Charlie McDowell and Mike and Mayor Mike Persicki, and so I ran the Wilmington Housing Partnership. So during that period, you realize the importance of housing. So I'm very proud about my contributions and our company's contributions to affordable housing, and that is something that we need more of, and that really is done with you need housing tax credits, because as you read in the paper, with inflation, the cost of housing is through the roof, and the only way to subsidize that is through the tax credit program the state has.
Again, I'm going to say this. So, like making everyone happy, that's not the business that I'm in, and I know that's not the business that you are in, because we are not going to be able to make everyone happy.
Yeah.
They have an opinion, if they can come up with different projects, options, of course. But if there's nothing you are doing and these places are idle, and someone goes in there and then puts a lot of investment, and it's happening. So like Bardea, you mentioned, is one of the best restaurants, not only in Wilmington, but probably in the East Coast.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And they opened another one, and I think they're opening one more around.
Across the street, for sure.
And I've been there several times, and having a restaurant like Bardea in downtown, it's just amazing. So you don't have to drive to Philadelphia if you have guests or if you just want to have some good time. And those types of investors are coming in because of the investments that you guys have done. So, but again, if there are good options, alternatives, so we are.
And the Coin is another, I think, fabulous historic renovation that our company undertook. And one of the great things about that is, we had these surveys to the 5,000 residents that live in our properties in the city of Wilmington, and a rooftop. So I live in Wilmington, but I went to visit a friend in Atlanta. We went to a rooftop in downtown Atlanta. Why don't we have one of those here? And I think people are aspirational, and they want the same things their friends have in other cities. And so we built the Coin, and the first thing on our list in the design was we wanted to have a really wonderful rooftop. And so you have that, and you go to these properties, the diversity of the clientele, of the employment base, it's really impressive. And I think when I drive home at night, and I have these great pictures, the before pictures and the after pictures of what the downtown looked like. It makes it easy to sleep at night knowing that you've changed so many people's lives. You've changed the city, and we've been a great benefactor of great mayors. We've had a series of wonderful mayors. My mentor, Ted Blunt, longtime city council president. He, you realize, the stars were aligned, and God was looking over you, just because you had these men that were, my father's age, that looked after you in the early stages of the career. And I was obviously very fortunate to have two very supporting parents. But it takes a village. And at the early part of our business, the village were these great leaders in the city that helped us. And Jim Baker was, if you know him, I'd go to these meetings as my mid-20s, and the things he'd say, they resonate as if it were yesterday. And he's a scholar, a well-read person, and those kind of key things he told us for the city to be successful has been the key to our long-term strategy.
So no, that's great. And now one of the other areas that you guys are in is the sports.
Yes.
Now you own one of the soccer teams, right?
Yep. Co-founder and co-owner of the Philadelphia Union. We started the team here in Wilmington at 11th and Market. It's in Chester, obviously very proximate to the city. of Wilmington. And one of the things I'm most proud of is a lot of the players live in the state of Delaware. And so last night I was actually at dinner with several of the players at the Philadelphia Union Foundation dinner. And as I was leaving, there's about 12 of the coaches, support staff, and players that were there, and we were all getting in our cars that had Delaware license plates. So I was really excited, and it was a point of pride that we brought this level of professional sports. And we also own the Chase Fieldhouse on the riverfront. We brought the Blue Coats there, and we have a youth sports program where we have about 2 million people a year visit our facilities here in Delaware, be it Kirkwood Soccer Complex, which we manage, the Chase Fieldhouse, and we run actually a youth soccer program called Sporting AC across, called Brotherly Love, and Lamar Mason has an incredible basketball component to the Fieldhouse. So we touch a lot of people in a lot of different ways, from the real estate side, sports side. One thing that many people don't know is we couldn't get Starbucks to come to the city of Wilmington, a decade ago. So after 4 or 5 years of begging them to open a Starbucks, they finally said, well, we won't open it, but we'll give you the license agreement to operate the Starbucks in the city of Wilmington. So I always joke, if you come to the Starbucks in Wilmington, we operate them. They're our colleagues. They're my work associates. And so we're one of the few companies in America that actually can build the coffee shop and also make the latte. And so, it just shows you the level of detail and work that we had to go to, so to make, Wilmington the place it is today.
And I know your son also is a good soccer player. The only reason I know this is because we have a common friend, Dr. Carlo and Anna Valencia.
Yes, yeah.
They are teammates with your son.
I've spent, I think, every weekend for the last decade with them on the sidelines. They're great people.
So now they are in the downtown United Medical office. They actually moved from their other office as of January. So
I was coming in the office, and one morning I saw that you had started, a significant investment in your United Medical building downtown, and I was so pleased. And that's the best thing I think that people in our company see, is when someone else is making the investment. And obviously the architecture, the quality investment that you made. I mean, that's really what makes a city self-sustaining. And I guess as Jim Baker once told me, Rob, if you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. And to see all these forward progress is unbelievable. And having a quality medical healthcare 2 blocks away, I mean, that's really important to our residential and our workforce base.
I think I remember telling you this. I was surprised that you didn't actually buy our building. So I tell some of my doctors, I told them the other day, well, Rob Buccini maybe owns the entire city, but I own this building in the city. So
you're in the best located building.
So it's really an interesting building. So and then we have finished the build out now. Susan Anderson, our chief operating officer, that was one of her projects. And now our business office is going to be in downtown.
Right.
We couldn't afford your building, so we are on the 800 Delaware Avenue. We are going to be, as of May 15th, our office here is going to move, and then we'll start working on our second surgery center.
Well, you'll have to come. Dan Butler is opening a restaurant right next door. I don't know if you read about it in the Delaware Online yesterday. So we'll have to meet there for lunch soon, and make sure you please send your.
Well, this time I'll pay, because last time you didn't let me pay because it was your own restaurant. So.
Yeah, so this time you'll be paying. Dan does a great job with food, so we're thrilled that he's going to open up later this month.
All right. Well, I know you are busy, and I know probably a lot going on your day, and I really appreciate you taking time and spending that time with us. I started this during the right after pandemic, just for our patients and employees because they were home. Patients were all telemedicine that time, and since then we actually stick to it. And I'm sure you saw some of our other events. We brought almost all politicians who are running for election in 2024. They were with us in the last 8 months. And we're going to keep bringing them. We have other people who are joining us. We have a bariatric Friday we call for our weight loss surgery program. So, and like having people like yourself is always fun. And also, I'm sure a lot of young people who see you as a role model can get to know you better. And that was kind of our purpose and reasoning for today's event. And I appreciate again you joining us. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm honored, and thank you so much for including me today.
We'll see you soon.
Really nice afternoon.
All right. All right, Sean, you can join us. This was a good conversation with Rob Buccini. I know he's busy with probably has a full schedule. So last week we had a little technical issue, which we were able to make up for. So this was a good event.
Yeah, I think it went pretty well. We got a lot of insight on obviously past projects and kind of the work and time frame and investment and even the risk that you're saying that it took on to complete those, but then also looking ahead at maybe some of hinting at sort of some of the plans of the future for Wilmington. But like you said, even different parts of downtown versus the riverfront, and kind of just seeing it all come together, I thought it went pretty well.
So I think also it's like for understanding the difficulty that they go through and the criticism that they may be getting. As he was saying, people are not really come up with alternatives, but they have opinions, right? So and you can't really stop. You have to move forward, and that's how we are going to actually make better futures for our people. So I do admire what he has done, what they are doing. His brother and his other partner, I didn't meet him, Pollin. So maybe we'll bring one of these days. We'll bring his brother and the other partner as well, and we'll be back with Bariatric Friday in 15 minutes. We'll see you guys soon.
Alrighty,
thank you. Bye bye.